Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My computer died when I was recording, so I've seen like the first 3 minutes of this video. So I'll know what happens to that 3 minutes, and then it's gonna be kind of I don't know what's going on. I was like, oh, why's my computer not charging? Because I had it plugged in. Apparently the actual cord wasn't plugged in all the way. So I'm stupid. So let's get into it.
Sexy YouTube mother lovers. Now we are about a year and 1 month into the Freudian slip. We are now a year and a month into the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This, of course, had huge geopolitical ramifications, but here at this channel, we're mostly focused on the firearms aspect, which is why we've done 3 videos now talking about some of the weird guns that are popping up all over the conflict. Whether it's old guns, brand new guns, very improvised guns. By this point, I would have thought we would have seen everything. Well, apparently, I was wrong, because we have an entirely new video full of stuff that we haven't shown yet. One of the things we've seen a lot in this war zone that is pretty fucking interesting, I think, is the juxtaposition of old world kind of Soviet weaponry mixed with new technology.
Okay, so, like I said earlier, even though you guys didn't get to see that because my fucking computer died. So like I said, here, I'm going to set myself down here for a minute. So over here on the left, I'm pretty sure this is an AK, like the newer AK, for Soviet deployment, or I think Ukrainian deployment or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure. I don't pay attention to that shit. And over here we have a Mosin Nagant, an old Soviet Mosin Nagant, chambered in 7.62 by 54R, I'm pretty sure. And so a weapon system like this could work just as well as this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, this probably is better for more close range engagement. Ooh, you got a shotgun. Wait. I'm not sure what that is because it's got a magazine. Maybe that's a mag-fed shotgun. I'm not sure. Oh wait, no. Okay, so there's this sight. There's just this pressure there. So it's a bullpup. It might be a TAR or a TAR, whatever you want to call it. A weapon system like this could work just as well as a weapon system like this for medium range engagements. So.
And not always good ones either. Take, for example, this modernized PKM that looks...
Yep. That might still work pretty well.
Like the non-consensual offspring of a regular PKM and the corpse of the M240 Bravo that's sitting right under it. At least this looks like it might be fairly effective at serving the purpose that they intended it to. Then I saw this video. That is a military AK-74 with a thermal optic duct taped to the top of it. My confidence that this is going to hold zero is, well, it's not high. I'm assuming this is some sort of thermal spotting scope that somebody, probably delirious from lack of sleep, decided was a really good idea to duct tape to the top of their gun.
I
have made thermal scope, comrade. I am of make budget repair. This wouldn't necessarily strike me so weird had it not completely obscured the iron sights. But speaking of somewhat ghetto conversions, remember those auto shops we were talking about a while back? The ones where they were converting PKTs, basically a PK machine gun that was built to be fired electrically from a tank, and they were giving them stocks and triggers and basically turning them into PKMs, more or less. Well, not all of them look quite that pretty. Saw this one the other day.
So, I got to here and then another minute forward. But so I'm gonna just go over. He's gonna repeat what I said basically, I'm repeating what he said, but I'm saying it before him because you get what I'm saying. So it's basically an AK-47 wood stock with a tube pistol grip. There's some sort of shell for a charging handle. And there's a string of some sort from the quote-unquote charging handle to what I think, I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a trigger or that.
Got an attachment for an AK stock there. Tube steel pistol grip. Little trigger that looks like it could have been cut from the same tube. And a charging handle that, well, looks like it's a crushed up shell casing from a 12.7 or a 14 millimeter or something like that. Kind of wild, but hey, if you're in need of a PKM and that's all you got, it'll do. Necessity being the mother of all invention, I suppose. Now, for these next photos, we're going to be looking to the skies. But before we do that, let's go
This sponsorship.
champions video. We've all seen the grenade drop videos and whatnot. And while that was a crazy thing to see, like kind of the incorporation of modern technology into guerrilla warfare, shit's even getting crazier now. Like this remote glider.
What the fuck? Okay, I have not seen this. That's an RPG-7. I don't know what the fuck that is back there, and it looks like a jerry-rigged fucking little
With an
plane.
RPG-7 rocket on the front. I'm not really sure what the deal is with this, or if maybe it's even a military production item. But I can tell you something that isn't military production. You know those civilian FPV racing drones that you see everywhere on YouTube? Well, they're starting to work a second job in Ukraine. Yeah, they're strapping rockets to those too. This is actually a little scarier. Because, you know, the grenade drones, those at least have to get right on top of you and then drop the grenade, hopefully, like, kind of somewhat land in the right place. This thing's just gonna dive bomb straight at you like a fucking hunter-killer from Call of Duty. I love some of the writing that they put on this. It's,
Hostile hunter-killer drone inbound.
seems a little personal. Love from Odessa. Now, I can't really read Cyrillic that well, but I can only imagine some of the heinous shit that's written on the other ones. But now the use of hobby drones has become like a known thing on both sides. The question is, how do you defeat them? There's been all sorts of crazy attempts at, anti-drone, directional EMP kind of craziness. But if there's anything we learned from the uses of drones in the first place, sometimes simple is better. Which means it may be time to bring...
Now we're talking. MP40. I think that's an original AK. And I'm not completely sure what that is. I can't really tell as of right now. Like, I just
Bring Grandpappy's shotgun out of the closet. Speaking of breaking things out from Grandpappy's closet, notice the MP40 there on the right. Grandpa probably picked that up off of a German in the 40s who didn't quite make it through the winter. But yes, these old shotguns that were designed to take out birds are now being used to take out drones. It's like skeet shooting, except the prize is you don't get grenaded. Take, for example, this video of a Russian using a single-shot 12-gauge to try to take out a Ukrainian drone. Remember when Amazon was talking about using drones to deliver packages, like same-day Amazon Prime kind of shit? And then rednecks memed about shooting them down and getting loot drops so much that I think they just pretty much dropped that altogether. Man, this country wouldn't live anywhere else. Next up, we're getting to the really cool shit. But if you dig this kind of stuff, I did want to get wouldn't live anywhere else. Next up, we're getting to the really cool shit.
Okay,
but if you dig this kind of stuff, I did want to give a quick shout out to the main channel sponsor, SDI. It's the Sonoran Desert Institute, and it's a great place to get your start in gunsmithing or weapons technology. Leave the links in the description and the pinned comment as always. A cool thing we're seeing a lot more of now is actually FALs. The based right arm of the free world that makes certain parts of Twitter very angry, and a great excuse to wear short shorts. But its reputation as the right arm of the free world is continuing to prove true. FALs, or specifically parafals, are actually showing up all over Ukraine, even by the crate load. Which makes a lot of sense considering how much NATO stuff they're being sent, whether it's, weaponry or ammunition. Being that the FAL is chambered in 308, which is the NATO 7.62, it makes sense that they'd be using stuff like this now. Because of course you'd traditionally be thinking about Ukraine, as that kind of former Soviet bloc. You'd be thinking a lot of AKs and stuff, which, you do clearly see a ton of AKs out there. Just like this gentleman here is using something that's kind of exotic for the US. Something you don't see very often.
So, now I'm not completely, I'm not, expert on, the AK platform, Brandon is. But it looks to be like an AK or some sort of RPK, but with I think AK maybe 74. I'm not completely sure. I'm not going to get that.
Often, which is an RPK-74. RPK, of course, being the light machine gun variation of the AKM. Basically just a reinforced receiver, bulge trunnion, and a thicker barrel. The RPK-74 is the same thing, but in 5.45. The AK-74 caliber, hence RPK-74. So he's providing infantry support for the tank behind him with the... Ukraine. What's that? It's a smoothie. Alright, now let's talk about my favorite support for the tank behind him with the...
Oh, I see it.
It's a smoothie. Alright, now let's talk about my favorite part. That's right, Maxims. Now, for the uninitiated, the Maxim is a belt-fed, water-cooled, general-purpose machine gun that was designed in the 1880s and has basically served in every European war zone since, Ukraine being no exception. I also own and have featured a Maxim on the channel before, and I'm very, very fond of the platform. Just a really neat historical piece. But just because it's historical doesn't mean it still doesn't have a place in modern warfare, apparently, especially according to the Ukrainians. Just ask this absolute stud with his bicycle Maxim. I also love how he swapped out the traditional paddles in favor of a stock. Here we can better see his scope and the camouflaging that's going on there on that water reservoir, as well as the spray-painted kind of leafy foliage camo up front. That's kind of cool. But you know that's not really far enough, I don't think. You know what this thing needs? Obviously a suppressor. You know what, man? I'm not even mad. Normally I'm like, leave historic pieces like this alone, but, well, for one, the guy clearly has a use for it. But this is so practical and semi-tastefully done that I'm not even mad. But you know what's better than one Maxim? Well, if you say two Maxims, then you're correct, but we've already done that one before in a previous episode. But what we haven't done is three Maxims. Now, why the hell would you ever need three Maxims?
Why not?
Or when you want to shoot something 3 times as much. I think the answer is fairly obvious. I think this is also a lot for anti-aircraft and things like that. Frankly, I think this is pretty much for whatever you need it to be. Let's say these Maxims are firing at 650 rounds a minute. You multiply that by 3 and you're cruising out almost 2,000 rounds per minute of 7.62 by 54R, which I will remind you is the same round that the Dragunov and the Mosin Nagant fire. Just 2,000 times per minute. You know what? Those are rookie numbers. We gotta bump those numbers up. Let's say we give you 4 Maxims. This is getting kind of ridiculous, but I'm still here for it. Even though we're starting to get into the territory of like those mech things from Matrix Revolution. We've now taken the Maxim, put 4 of them together, and now we have something that is basically just a ghetto-rigged minigun. This is what happens when the next support package that we send to Ukraine isn't money or weapons, it's rednecks. We should just start sending them rednecks. So what do you think about the Maxims? Still cool on the battlefield, or should they just kind of let Grandpa retire? Let me know down in the comments, and also let me know if you guys have seen anything else that's weird pop up in Ukraine. Something that we haven't covered in the prior episodes, which, if you want to watch them, of course, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe, go ahead and take a look around the channel, and check out some of the other Guns of Ukraine videos we've done. Anyhow, that's all we've got for this episode.
This is a pretty good episode. I mean, like he said, there's a lot of weird shit being used in Ukraine right now, so, I mean, I hope they win, because, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, so, I had fun watching this, so, yeah, have a good one.